Today we're going to be making the sports bra of my rock climbing dreams. We're going to make the pattern together and I'll show you how to sew it up. I'm going to be using my favorite sports bra as a starting point. This is the Lorelei bra by Verve and I'll have it linked down below for your reference. If you haven't come across this bra before, it's truly a game changer. I mean, come on. Look at what it does for the itty bitty titty committee. Now, I love this bra, but what I love even more is showing off those beautiful back muscles that I've worked so hard for. My friend Kyra has this sports bra, and every single time I see it, I want to buy it. So I'm gonna make the back of my sports bra look like the back of hers. I'm gonna be using my trusty Baby Lock Accolade, but if you don't have a serger or a cover stitch machine, that's totally okay. You can still follow along in this tutorial by using a zigzag stitch and a twin needle. If you're new to sewing, the reason you'll want to use a zigzag stitch instead of a straight stitch is because straight stitches do not stretch. If you tried to use a straight stitch on a sports bra and then you put it over your body, I can almost guarantee that your stitches would pop. When choosing fabric, you'll want to make sure that you pick something stretchy. I highly recommend using a swimsuit material because I found that it was super comfortable and easy to work with. Now, although I'm about to show you how to make this pattern for yourself, you can also DM me on Instagram and I'll send you pictures of the pattern that I created with detailed measurements. It's drafted for my body and I have a bust size 36A, but even if you're not the same bust size as me, it might be a good starting point. Another thing to keep in mind is that you can also make this sports bra into a crop top. All you'll have to do is lengthen the pattern so that the bottom falls at your waist. You can see that I did that in this picture and I absolutely love it. Okay, and lastly, before we get into it, Layla and I created a new hashtag on Instagram, so if you're sewing any climbing gear, don't forget to use the hashtag ClimberSewist so that we can all see your makes. Now let's get into it. Okay, let's start by grabbing your favorite sports bra to use as a template and we'll get to tracing. Put the sports bra down on a piece of paper and trace around the fabric. You'll probably have to maneuver the fabric since you're drawing a 3D object onto a piece of paper. If it isn't perfect on the first try, that's okay. You can always adjust the pattern later. I like to trace out half of the pattern, then cut that out, fold it over, and trace the other half. This will ensure that the pattern piece is perfectly mirrored. Now that I've finished the front piece, we're going to do the same thing for the back piece, but I'm going to omit the back straps and mimic the design of Kyra's bra. As a starting point, I drew a line in the center back of the pattern. Then I decided how wide I wanted the strap to be and drew a line on both sides. I freehanded the shape of the top and eyeballed how long I wanted it to be. It ended up working out great, but if it hadn't, I would have just gone back and altered the pattern as I saw fit. Next, I cut out half of the pattern, folded it over, and traced the other half. After I drafted the front piece and the back piece, I retraced them to create the final pattern. While doing this, I made sure that the width of the straps and the width of the side seams were the same. I also slightly changed the angle of the front straps to account for the single back strap. After those were traced and cut, this is what the final pattern looked like. Now we're going to grab our fabric and see which direction has more stretch. If your fabric stretches more in one direction than another, make sure that you cut the pattern so that the fabric will stretch across your body. My preference is to have 2 layers of fabric on the front and back pieces because it adds a bit of thickness and makes the interior more comfortable. So I'll be cutting 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces. Once they're cut, match up the straps of the front piece to the straps of the back piece and pin them in place. Make sure that the good sides of the fabric are facing each other. Take the fabric over to your machine and finish the edges together. If you have an overlocker, use that. Otherwise, use zigzag stitch. Next, lay down your pieces with right sides facing each other and pin the edges of the fabric together. At this point, you're ready to serge or zigzag the edges, but you're also going to be adding elastic. I used this 1/4 inch braided elastic and it worked great. Now, if you're feeling confident, you can finish the edges and attach the elastic all in one step, but I prefer to do it in 2 separate steps because I feel like I have more control. So let's start by serging or zigzagging the edges of the fabric together without the elastic. Once that's done, we're going to attach the elastic. If you're using a serger, disengage the knife so that it doesn't cut your serged edge. Now make sure that you start the elastic about a 1/4 inch in from where the side seams will be. This will make the side seams less bulky later. Also, when sewing the elastic down, you don't need to stretch it. The reason that we're adding the elastic in the first place is to create structure through the straps. Alright, now that that's done, it's time to flip your work inside out. This part might feel tricky because you're trying to pull fabric through a pretty small tube, but after a bit of time, you should be able to turn everything so that the right side is facing out. Next, you can lay your work flat and match and pin both of the side seams together. Take your work back to your machine and serge or zigzag those side seams. Once that's done, this is what the inside and outside of your seams should look like. Now, we're going to pin around the entire sports bra on all edges except for the neck hole. This will help hold the bra in place while we're sewing. After all the pins are in, we're going to focus on the bottom of the bra and attach elastic all the way around the inner edge. Just like before, this can all be done in one step, but I'm going to do it in 2 steps so I have more control. Take your work to your machine and zigzag or serge the edges together. Then put your elastic on top of your finished edge and zigzag or serge the elastic to the edge. This This time, when you're sewing down the elastic, you'll want to stretch the elastic so that when your sports bra is on, it will stay underneath your bust. After the elastic is in, fold the fabric to sandwich the elastic and pin all the way around the bottom of your sports bra. Okay, at this point, you're all done using the serging and zigzag functions of your machine. Now we're gonna top stitch everything down by using a cover stitch or a twin needle. I'm gonna be saying top stitch moving forward, but make sure you're either using a cover stitch or a twin needle and not a straight stitch. All right, let's start with the bottom of the bra that you just pinned in place. Go ahead and top stitch all the way around that, and while you're at it, also top stitch both the armholes that you previously pinned in place. Now the last section that we have before finishing is the neck hole. You're going to fold it under about 1/4 of an inch and pin it down. Make sure that you fold it under far enough for the top stitch to catch both of the pieces of fabric. After it's pinned down, top stitch the neckline in place. Once that's all done, take a pair of scissors and cut back the fabric close to the stitch. I like to use a small pair of scissors because I find that it's easier, but either way, make sure that you're very careful and don't accidentally cut into the sports bra. If you made the sports bra in this video, I'd love to hear about it, so don't forget to leave a comment down below. And if you're sharing it on Instagram, please use the hashtag #ClimberSewist so that we can all see your beautiful make. Now, if you're interested in learning about the cover stitch and serger combo machine that I used in this video, then you should watch this video next. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.